The top stories tonight in Y News. Malacanang reveals President Rodrigo Duterte's list of possible presidential bets for the 2022 national elections.
Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi apologizes for successive brownouts in Luzon this week as he assures the power supply has returned to normal.
The Philippine National Police files an administrative case against the police officer who shot his neighbor at point-blank range earlier this week. The Department of Health opposes ditching the mandatory face shield policy.
Fast food giant Jollibee temporarily shuts down a branch after a customer was allegedly served fried towel instead of fried chicken.
And divers spot a 160 square meter coral garden in Manila Bay. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from Welcome Rotonda, Quezon City. Today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. I am William Theo.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am Harleen Delgado.
First in the news, Department of Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi apologized for the spate of rotational brownouts that hits parts of Luzon this week, saying that the Luzon grid is now in normal system condition. The energy chief also denies allegation giving priority to politics than the power supply problems. Rosalie Cos explains why.
Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi, the vice chairman of the administration's political party Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan or PDP Laban, admits he felt sad over criticisms of some of his party mates. Senator Manny Pacquiao, the president of PDP Laban, hit him, alleging he is putting politics first before the problems in the energy sector. The Energy Secretary defended himself and said that the National Council meeting of the PDP Laban was just coincidental with the Luzon grid being placed under red alert, followed by rotational brownouts. The cabinet member apologized over the power outages last Monday and Tuesday and assured that the DOE is on top of the situation.
It doesn't mean na napapabayanan ko because I have I'm not the only guy that is running DOE. You know, and I trust my team. I trust the DOE people addressing the situation. At saka the policies have been laid out already. This is a question of enforcement, alam ko, no? So wala pong relasyon yung pag-meeting sa Cebu, that is another faction, and I can do jobs with all the technology that we have today. We can perform more, no?
According to the energy chief, this is the first time in the last 5 years that the rotational brownouts in Luzon and Metro Manila happened following the failure in 4 big power plants. He added in the past years there were no such happenings, but there were brownouts due to other technical issues such as the effects of typhoons or other calamities. The secretary also said under the current administration, the power capacity in the country has been increased.
And over the 5 years po, under this administration, 30% of the capacity has been increased. Tumatanda rin po yung mga power plants, no? Yung mga tumatanda power plants nangangailangan din po ng mas mahaba-habang maintenance.
Cusi said right now the power supply is back to normal, though DOE is still monitoring some power plants which have not yet returned their normal operations. He also asked for the help of the Energy Regulatory Commission as well as the Philippine Competition Commission to look into allegations of sabotage with regard to breakdown of power plants which led to the rotational brownouts. Meanwhile, to ensure energy security, especially in the upcoming elections next year, as well as the continuous massive vaccination campaign, the government is pushing for the scheme of energy mix and building up of additional power capacity. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, a consumer group says that the power shortages in Luzon may have been prevented by the Energy Department 2 months ago. Ray Pelayo explains why.
As early as April, the Department of Energy, or DOE, had already known that there would be a power shortage in Luzon based on the supply and demand forecast from April to June. According to Laban Consumer President Attorney Vic Dimagiba, the DOE should have made actions before the problem occurred.
Nakalagay doon between May 28 to June 10, meron lang silang in-identify na red alert. No, makikita yan doon sa graph ng Grid Operating Maintenance Program. So in other words, they could have taken preventive action to avert the red alert.
Dimagiba added that the maintenance of power generators should not be done from April to June when the demand is high.
Sa guideline kasi ng DOE, kailangan hindi ka mag-maintain during the 3 months. Only yung tinatawag na force outages like acts of God. I-prove nila na lahat ay acts of God. Pero kung maintenance problem yun, problema ng mga power plants yun.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Energy Regulatory Commission has been urged to rechannel the penalties to be imposed against generation companies as a refund to consumers. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Advocacy group Laban Consumer is expecting an increase in the electricity bill due to the occurrence of the power outages in Luzon. According to the group's president, Attorney Vic Dimagiba, electricity prices tend to be higher when there is a shortage of supply, but the sad part is, he says, the burden will be passed to the consumers. Dimagiba has sent a letter to the Energy Regulatory Commission suggesting to rechannel the penalties that will be imposed against generation companies or GenCos as a payback to consumers.
Tayo naman po kasi mga consumers ang laging napiperwisyo. Tayo naman po yung nagbabayad ng kuryente. Kaya kung pumulsahan ng mga 10 kumpanya nito, yung pumulsa na yun, ang dapat na pakinabang ay consumers din, hindi po yung National Treasury.
Earlier, the ERC directed GenCos to explain the unplanned outages that breached the maximum allowed unplanned outage days for the year 2021. The erring GenCos were directed to submit their explanations within 7 days from receipt of the said ERC notice of non-compliance. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Malacanang has bared President Rodrigo Duterte's possible choices for the 2022 presidential race. Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says there was nothing illegal in urging the president to run for vice president in the elections. Rosalie Cos reports why.
Presidential daughter and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, Senator Manny Pacquiao, former Senator Bongbong Marcos, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso, and Senator Bongo. These are the options of President Rodrigo Duterte, whom he may support to run for president for the 2022 national elections. However, Malacanang says the president still has no final decision on this. Also, until now, the chief executive still does not want his daughter Sara to run, and the presidential daughter has no intention to do so.
Alam niyo, talagang nung kinausap ko siya dyan, wala pa po siyang desisyon. Meron lang mga options talaga siyang sinabi. No? At as of now, siguro nakatutok pa rin ng presidente po dito sa pandemya, sa bakuna.
Earlier, former Defense Secretary Gilbert Gibo Teodoro Jr. went to Davao to meet Mayor Duterte, sparking rumors of a possible tandem in 2022. In a series of Facebook posts, Former Camarines Sur Representative Rolando Andaya Jr. posted photos of him with Teodoro on a plane, describing the latter as his vice president, and that they are on their way to meet his president. He ended the caption with the words, "Done deal, folks." Meanwhile, the palace believes it is not illegal for the president to run as vice president in the upcoming elections. This following the resolution of the administration's party PDP Laban, encouraging the president to run as vice president. Right now, the chief executive is still pondering on it.
Kung pinagbabawal po ang presidente na tumakbo ng VP, dapat sinulat po yan. Nagkaroon ng teksto sa ating saligang batas na nagpapabawal dyan. Pero since wala pong prohibition, it must be allowed.
According to Malacanang, despite recent tension in the administration's political party, the chief executive does not believe there's a problem within PDP Laban. Senator Manny Pacquiao also remains to be the president of the PDP Laban, though he disagreed with a National Council meeting held recently. Rosa Licos, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
An ally of President Rodrigo Duterte believes that if Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte will run for president in the 2022 elections, she should maintain geographical balance in the national leadership. Joan Nano will tell us why.
Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda is one of the signatories of the PDP Laban's National Council resolution urging President Rodrigo Duterte to run as vice president in the 2022 polls. But the lawmaker said he does not see the Duterte-Duterte tandem in the coming elections.
I don't see that. Although I signed the resolution, first you need geographical balance. It is a rational thing to do, especially that in our system where the president, there's concentration of powers in the president. At least there should be a geographical balance, so there's hindi masyadong nako-concentrate yung national resources in geographically.
With the possibility of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte running for president in the 2022 elections, according to Congressman Salceda, she could choose a running mate that would give her geographical balance.
I think geographical balance is still necessary for her to win and necessary for good public policy, especially in the allocation of national resources.
Representative Salceda insists that it is not advisable to push for the Duterte-Duterte tandem.
It is more reasonable that there will be a Duterte and somebody else as a team. So I don't see Duterte tandem in 2022.
The PDP Laban lawmaker has no doubt in mind that the presidential daughter will go for a higher government post. Mayor Duterte Carpio, for her part, has yet to officially announce her move for the coming 2022 elections. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The number of fatalities due to the onslaught of Tropical Storm Dante has climbed to 4, while 7 others were reported missing. In its latest situational report, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, said the casualties were reported in regions 6, 8, 11, 12, and Mimaropa. A total of 9,831 families, or 45,456 persons, were affected by Dante in 89 barangays in regions 11, 12, and Caraga. Meanwhile, all tropical cyclone warning signals were lifted as Tropical Cyclone Dante continued to move away from the Philippine landmass. As of 4 p.m., Dante was spotted 255 kilometers west of Sinait, Ilocos Sur. Also, gale warning remained in effect over the northern and western seaboards of northern Luzon. Dante is forecast to weaken into a tropical depression tomorrow afternoon and into a remnant low on Saturday. Fast food giant Jollibee Foods Corporation is temporarily shutting down one of its stores in Bonifacio Global City after a customer who ordered a fried chicken complained about receiving a deep-fried towel instead. In a statement, the company says the branch will cease operations for 3 days, starting today, to thoroughly review the BGC branch compliance with procedures and retrain its store team to avoid a repeat of the incident. On June 2, customer Alik Perez posted on Facebook that she ordered fried chicken from Jollibee Bonifacio Stopover branch, which turned out to be a fried towel. Jollibee said it is deeply concerned by the incident and has launched an investigation.
An administrative case was filed against Police Master Sergeant Xi Jinping, the cop who shot and killed a 52-year-old woman in Quezon City. Leah Ilagan reports.
The PNP Internal Affairs Service has completed its investigation in the murder case of Police Master Sergeant Xi Jinping, who shot Lilibet Valdez on Monday night at Fairview, Quezon City. ES Inspector General Attorney Alfegar Triambulo says Jinping did not submit his counter affidavit to deny the allegation filed against him. Because of this, the PNP has formally filed an administrative case for grave misconduct against Jinping. Jinping have 9 days to answer the formal charge against him. Attorney Triambulo adds instead of 30 days, they will finish Jinping case in 20 days.
Mas mabilis ang proseso ng IAS ng kaso sa kaso ng respondent police pag sila po ay nakadetain. Kasi pupuntahan na lang po siya doon sa kulungan, no? Wala na siyang mga alibay-alibay na marami siyang trabaho kaya magpa-postpone ng mga ganito. So yun, mas advantage namin yung mga nakakulong.
He also said they are confident that Jinping will be removed from service.
Sigurado kami sa nakikita sa ebidensya namin, talagang sabi nga walang pagkakaiba to doon sa Nuesca case, no? So very strong yon kasi ang kailangan mo lang naman na mapatunayan na sa magamit ng bilang ebidensya yung video clip kung sino yung kumukuha noon na sabihin niya na fit for production yung niya, tapos yun yung nakikita niya. So enough na po yun to corroborate na authentic yung nakita sa video. Yun lang authenticity ang kailangan.
The pre-hearing of Jinping's case is set on June 9 in his cell in Camp Karingal, Quezon City. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In other news, the Senate has passed a bill seeking to tax the Philippine offshore gaming operators, or POGO, in the country. Once the bill enacted into law this year, it is projected to generate almost 30 billion pesos in revenues. However, some legislators have second thoughts on the bill. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
Voting 17-3-0, the Senate has approved on third and final reading Senate Bill 2232, which seeks to amend the National Internal Revenue Code and establish a tax regime for the Philippine offshore gaming operators, or POGOs. The proposed measure was certified by President Rodrigo Duterte as urgent. Under the bill, a 5% gaming tax will be imposed on the entire gross gaming revenue or receipts from their gaming operations. All alien individuals employed by an offshore gaming licensee and service providers will also be subject to 25% withholding tax from their gross income. Based on the data of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, there are almost 300 Philippine and foreign-based offshore gaming operators, local gaming agents, and service providers registered in the Bureau. Senate Committee on Ways and Means Chairperson Pia Cayetano says should the bill becomes a law, the government is expected to generate an estimated 28.7 billion pesos in revenues this year and up to 32 billion pesos for 2022. Senator Risa Hontiveros believes online gambling is not the kind of foreign direct investment that the country should encourage. She also cited tax leakages as a major problem in the POGO industry and the criminal syndicates and organized crimes that are linked with POGO employees.
I think it is important for this chamber, Mr. President, to take a stronger position against online gambling and the illicit activity it has brought to our shores.
Senator Francis Pangilinan has the same sentiment, adding its threat to national security and social cost.
Indeed, whatever amount the BIR collects from POGOs may be used to fund projects to give relief to our people suffering during this pandemic. However, we cannot and should not turn a blind eye from the social costs that POGO industry brings and has brought upon us.
The bill's counterpart measure was passed in the House of Representatives in February. Horilyn Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, based on population, Peru has now the highest COVID-19 death rate in the world and more than doubles that of Brazil. But why has Peru been affected so badly? Maven Dog reports.
Peru had more than doubled its official COVID-19 death toll following a government review, naming them the country with the highest mortality death rate per capita in the world, overtaking Hungary. On Monday, the government officials announced that the real value of death tolls was being undercounted in official statistics during the pandemic. Instead of 69,342 Peruvians perishing from COVID-19, more than 180,000 have actually died from the pandemic. Experts say Peru's healthcare system was underprepared and lacked sufficient funding. Hospitals were overcrowded with patients and demanded for oxygen outstripping availability. Scenes of cemeteries piling up with new burials and hospitals buying refrigerated containers that ships morgues surfaced and raised questions towards the country's death toll. Officials stated that it is because of the lack of testing that made it difficult for them to confirm whether the person that died was due to the virus or some other cause. Following the review, they announced the change of criteria for assigning COVID-19 as a cause of death. It was broadened beyond people who died within 60 days of a positive test, as well as suspected cases without a positive test. Also, people whose clinical assessment or medical examinations suggest COVID-19, as well as those who've been in contact with a confirmed case. So far, less than 4% of the country's population have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Mavian Dog, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Indonesia has called off its efforts to salvage the remains of the Navy submarine KRI Nanggala that sank off the coast of Bali on April 21, killing 53 crew on board. The 40-year-old vessel was found split into 3 parts days after its disappearance during a live torpedo exercise in the Bali Sea. Efforts have so far unsuccessfully retrieved the wreckage, which was found to be at a depth of more than 800 meters or approximately 2,600 feet. A Navy spokesman said a key reason to operation ended was that searchers had yet to find the pressure hull, where the sailors' bodies were believed to be located. The military has yet to offer an official explanation for the sinking of the decades-old submarine. China's president is aiming to expand the country's circle of friends and wants to present a more lovable image to the world. Ia de Vera will tell us why live. Yes, Ia, please go ahead.
Oriental President Xi Jinping is encouraging senior Communist Party officials to create a trustworthy, lovable, and respectable image for the country. The statement came after China's recent deteriorating relations with global powers, indicating a possible shift in what analysts say is a hard-edged and antagonistic diplomatic approach by the country. President Xi said on Monday that China should be open and confident in its communication with the world, but also modest and humble, and emphasized the necessity to make friends and to constantly expand its circle. China recently denounced U.S. efforts to further investigate speculations of the coronavirus disease originating from a Chinese lab, with China's foreign ministry accusing the U.S. of political manipulation and blame shifting. Furthermore, the Chinese government had been under global pressure and received heavy criticism for the enforcement of repressive measures on the minority Muslim Uyghurs in Xinjiang. In recent years, China's diplomats have resorted to using sarcasm and aggression to reject criticism in interviews and online, which has been dubbed by the media the wolf warrior diplomacy strategy. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Iya, for that live report. Developing cities are being discouraged from building skyscrapers and are instead being encouraged to follow the pyramid model. Paul Gatchalian will tell us why live. Yes, Paul?
Mariel, about 70% of the world's population is expected to live in cities and urban areas by 2050. And according to the World Bank, cities and urban developers must be prepared to manage the sprawling, overcrowding, and congestion as more people move into these urban areas. Currently, the most common tactic in expanding an overcrowded area is by building skyscrapers to create more compact cities. However, World Bank lead urban economist Somik Lal stated in a report from Reuters that instead of building taller skyscrapers to fit into high-density cities, it is more important to prioritize making these cities livable. On that note, pyramid-shaped cities are currently believed to be more livable and are beneficial in providing their inhabitants to enjoy bigger floor space with fewer travel distances between work and home. Lal states that if cities are managed in a pyramid-shape, public transport and cars will be reduced and greenhouse gas emissions will decrease significantly. On the other hand, Lal also added that this development model will still require tactical urban planning to lay out the basic groundwork and foundations for future developments. Back to you, Marielle.
All right, Paul, thank you for that live report. Israel eyes the end of an era as Israel opposition leaders reach coalition deal to oust Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and form new government. Marvin Delfin will give us the details live. Yes, Marvin, good evening.
Marielle, the unlikely alliance of parties from across the political spectrum have finally agreed to form a government to unseat veteran Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Opposition leader Yair Lapid and his main coalition partner Naftali Bennett made the announcement just minutes before the midnight deadline. Under the agreement, Mr. Lapid and Mr. Bennett will split the job of Prime Minister in a rotation, with Bennett serving the first 2 years while Lapid to serve the final 2. However, the agreement still needs to be approved by the Israeli parliament or the Knesset in a vote that is expected to take place early next week. If it gets the green light, Lapid and his diverse array of partners will end the record-setting 12-year rule of Netanyahu. In the coming days, Netanyahu is expected to do everything possible to prevent the new coalition from taking power, while also fighting his corruption charges. Lapid said on Twitter that this new government will work for all Israel's citizens, regardless of political viewpoints. In response, Prime Minister Netanyahu lashed out and called the proposed alternative government a danger to the security of Israel and a danger to the future of the state. Marielle?
All right, Marvy, thank you for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Maria Latoza, live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso proposed to the government yesterday to lift the mandatory face shield policy in the country. He added that aside from the additional expenses, wearing it adds burden, especially to elderly people and with comorbidities. But the health department opposes the suggestion. Aiko Miguel explains why.
The Department of Health says it is not yet time to scrap the policy requiring Filipinos to wear face shields in public places. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said this is due to the low inoculation coverage in the country. Currently, there are just over 1 million people belonging to the priority sector who are fully vaccinated. Also, Secretary Duque says there are many scientific evidence proving that the combination of wearing a face mask, face shield, and responsibly observing social distancing give 95% protection to an individual against COVID-19. Dr. Althea de Guzman of the DOH Epidemiology Bureau said there are COVID-19 case surge in other areas like Region 2, Visayas, and Mindanao region. So it is not yet time to lift the mandatory face shield policy.
Alam ko hindi madali, hindi convenient yung naka-face shield ka, lalo na ako may salamin pa ako. Pero I think these are yung mga kailangan talaga sa ngayon, no? Let's adhere and let's comply because these are necessary to protect ourselves and to also protect yung nasa bahay natin at nasa workplace natin from getting ill.
Dr. De Guzman also said it is not enough basis that a person who is fully vaccinated doesn't need to wear a face shield when going outdoors. Also, it is difficult to compare the Philippines with other countries.
Tayo, kailangan muna mapababa talaga natin yung kaso, yung transmission rate na sinasabi natin. At the same time, no, we want to further increase yung coverages natin, not just of the whole population, but especially yung mga priority groups na natin, ng healthcare workers, the senior citizens, and yung ating mga main comorbidities, no? Para after we've achieved certain milestones, then we can review, no, kung meron na ba tayong pwedeng i-revise, no, sa ating current na minimum public health standards.
Meanwhile, the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases will consider revising the face shield policy if the Metro Manila Council will have to recommend it. On the other hand, Malacanang stands firm that there's a scientific basis on the policy's implementation as a way to prevent COVID-19 transmission.
Nakikinig naman po ang ating IATF. I'm sure narinig ng IATF ang rekomendasyon ni Mayor Yorme, at kung ito po ay magiging rekomendasyon ng lahat ng mga mayor sa Metro Manila, talagang pinakikinggan naman po ang ating mga implementers dahil sila po nagpapatupad ng mga IATF policies.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines on Thursday logged 7,217 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the cumulative tally to 1,247,899. In its bulletin, the Department of Health, or DOH, said the latest figure pushed the country's active cases to 55,790. Of these cases, 93.6% are mild, 2% are asymptomatic, 1.27% are moderate, 1.8% are severe, and 1.4% are in critical condition. The DOH noted in its report that 4 accredited testing laboratories failed to submit data on time. Total recoveries went up to 1,170,752 after 3,483 more patients recuperated from the viral disease. The number of COVID-related deaths also increased to 21,357 with 199 new fatalities.
Meanwhile, the Marikina city government has increased their vaccination capacity in preparation for mass vaccination. However, they require more COVID-19 vaccines before jabbing individuals under the A4 cluster. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why live. Yes, Asher, good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening, Will. The Marikina city government estimates about 16,000 more senior citizens that have yet to receive their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Antonio Liabres, logistic head of the Marikina City Task Force COVID-19, explains that they need to vaccinate them first, as well as those in the A3 priority group that have also not been vaccinated.
Kahit mag-A4, ang priority pa rin ay A2. So sila pa rin ang uunahing bigyan. Hindi naman kasi lahat ng, wala pang LGU for that matter, na nakaka-achieve na mabakunahan ng lahat ng A2.
Dr. Liabres says that the vaccination backlog is due to the scarcity in the vaccine supply.
Ang challenging is yung availability of vaccine. Mahirap kasing mag-schedule kung wala kang vaccine. Diba? Ang hirap nun. Parati tayong naghihintay kung meron na kaming vaccine para kami makapag-schedule.
Despite these challenges, the local government of Marikina City has been increasing their vaccination capacity in preparation for the mass vaccination. The city's mega COVID-19 vaccination center has a capacity of 6,000 to 8,000 individuals per day, but 10 more schools are continuously being prepared to serve as additional vaccination sites in the LGU in case it becomes necessary.
Inihahanda namin as early in response to the government's call para maghanda para sa mega vaccination. So ina-estimate namin na pagka dumating na vaccine, hindi kami mahihirapan na mag-adjust.
Marikina City Mayor Marcelino Teodoro said that they have yet to confirm the number of doses of COVID-19 vaccines that the government will provide them and when it will be delivered. The local chief executive, however, explained that they were assured that Marikina City will receive the next supply as the vaccination for the A4 cluster commences. Will?
Yes, thank you, Asher Kadapan Jr. reporting live. The Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, assured that the country's vaccine supply will not be affected by the mix and match clinical trial on July. The DOST says 3,000 participants will take part of the study from the priority group of the vaccination program. Marvin Calas reports.
The Department of Science and Technology will commence its clinical trial on the mix and match of COVID-19 vaccines, including booster shots, next month, while the registration for the participants is expected at the end of June. DOST Undersecretary Rowena Guevara also assured that the trial will not cause shortage on the vaccine supplies following the prioritization group of the vaccination program.
Yun po naman pong gagawan natin ng study, sila din naman po yung priority dito sa ating vaccination program, A1 hanggang A4. So, hindi po mababawasan yung supply kasi sila naman po talaga ay kasama sa babakunahan.
A total of 12 experiments will be carried out, having 250 participants each. Under the mix and match vaccination, different brand of vaccines will be inoculated. For example, the first dose could be Sinovac, while the second dose should be AstraZeneca or any other vaccine brands. Booster shots will also be tested during the trial, where a different vaccine brand will be given as a third dose. For example, if a participant was vaccinated using Sputnik V on its first and second dose, the third dose would be of other vaccine brands.
Yung 5 pong huling experiment, ang tawag ng iba ay booster. Dito naman po, gagawin po natin na Sinovac at Sinovac yung first at second dose mo. Tapos, magkakaroon ka ng third dose na either AstraZeneca, Sputnik V Adeno 5, Sputnik V Adeno 26, Pfizer at saka Moderna.
The result of the study will provide information if it grants a higher protection among those vaccinated against COVID-19. Guevara added that clinical trial is necessary to identify which vaccine combinations grants a higher efficacy rate. The effectivity of mix and match vaccination among Filipinos would also be obtained. On the other hand, the DOST clarified that 17 years old and below age group is not included in the trial, as the government does not support pediatric vaccination yet. Marvin Calas, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
People may thought that portions of Manila Bay are incapable of sheltering marine life, but a group of divers accidentally discovered a coral garden beneath it. Maribel Cabing has the story.
Divers have discovered a coral garden within the core zone of Dante Marine Park, a portion of Manila Bay, last May 17.
Local authorities originally intended to install 4 marker buoys for the boundaries of the core zone of Ternate Marine Park and 2 artificial reefs, in observance of the month of the ocean. However, professional and volunteer divers discovered 160 square meters of a coral garden. In the photos shared by the dive from Penro, Cavite, different soft and hard corals were spotted in the site. There were anemones with clownfishes, a giant barrel sponge, and scroll corals. Divers have also seen an endangered giant clam locally known as Taclobo. With this discovery, Penro Cavite reminded each Caviteño to protect and conserve this marine treasure for sustainability through practicing waste segregation and participating in cleanup activities. Maribel Cabling, UNTV, News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with the final word, giving glory to God, from the book of James chapter 1 verse 12. It says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life which the Lord hath promised to them that love him."
And those are the reasons behind the news, June 3, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.